Colleen and Trisha started a new podcast. I foresee so many ways where this podcast could get canceled. So let us count the ways. Hi, my name is Jem, and today we are going to reload Oversharing with Colleen and Trish.
Hey everyone, I'm Colleen Ballinger.
And I'm Trish Paytas.
I bet you didn't expect to see this.
I don't even know who you are. Only thing I know about this Colleen character is I'm pretty sure she was one of those YouTubers that had to do an apology video way back when. But yeah, I don't know you.
Or maybe you did because we've been talking about it for a long time.
So they probably definitely were expecting it.
I pointed this out on the very first episode of Frenemies on my Frenemies Reloaded series that Trisha has this thing about calling people out, even for the slightest things.
I always thought, me and Trisha have a really funny chemistry.
Oh, yeah.
On all of your visits.
Right. Well, yeah.
And I thought, well, fuck it. Let's just do it like that. Let's do it live.
Oh, but this isn't live, though.
No, it's just
okay.
built.
Yeah, no, this is also take two, so I feel very nervous. Like, I feel like I fucked up. Like,
this isn't take two.
No, we did an intro already, and now we're doing a second intro because of technical difficulties, and I'm nervous.
She wants the truth out there. This can be conflict. Beware, Colleen.
So yeah, here we are. We're doing a podcast. This podcast is called Oversharing.
Oversharing, such a good name.
And we've always been friends. We've always known each other and been friends and whatever, but never been close.
Yeah, never deep. We never got deep with each other.
No.
Why do people say that they're friends when they're at the most acquaintances? Or did you guys just collab in a couple of videos? That's a different thing. Because Colleen, don't go out there and say that you and Trisha have always been friends and then something happens and Trisha's going to tell you that you've never been friends. Was this not another point in conflict with Trisha and Gabby? That's the video I'm working on.
Recent, since I became when I became a mom, we've been closer, but
yeah, but we just
Colleen, see what I tell you? Trisha's not going to say you guys were friends if you guys weren't friends. Trisha clearly stated right now, you guys recently have become friends. Colleen, Trisha's not gonna let you run away with a story. She's gonna want her version out there always, especially if it differs from hers. Just to let you know.
But every time we are around each other, which has been rare in the last decade, we don't stop talking. We just talk nonstop. We love doing mukbangs together.
You see how Colleen had to just switch up her story? She said they were friends, and then Trisha corrected her, and now she has to say, oh, well, and a few times we hung out together, we talked a lot. Right, that's not friends.
So it is a podcast, but it's also kind of just like us just doing this.
Yeah, we don't have anybody, any company, any spot, nothing. We literally put this together in my basement, and then we're like, let's.
Did you all just catch that? Trisha just said they didn't have any sponsors, but then she didn't really finish her sentence.
Anybody, any company, any spot, nothing.
And so Trisha doesn't really outright lie unless it's about herself or a dead person. But maybe they don't have a sponsor for this episode, but they may have some lined up in the future, or that's what they're, of course, looking towards. And I think it might be hard for Trisha to get a lot of sponsors. And I'm assuming, correct me if I'm wrong, everyone, that Colleen has no trouble with that. So I think that this podcast would be a good vehicle for Trisha to get that sponsorship money rolling in. Especially now, I'm hearing a lot of these big YouTubers complaining about their AdSense being low. I'm sorry, Trisha, I'm going to be looking at you hard right now. The amount of smoke you had for Ethan in his basement Frenemies podcast, and how you were quick to always tell him how you could run a podcast better than him, Trisha. You set yourself up for this? I'm going to be looking at what you produce now that you're in control, since you had all that mouth for Ethan and Dan, the man, and the crew.
Dress up in costume. I don't know. We just kind of threw it all together.
The reason it took so long is because we've talked about doing this since December, since hoping and waiting that someone would do it with us. And then finally we were like, why don't we just do it ourselves? And people, I'm sure people would maybe do it with us, but we're like, let's just do it ourselves and have fun with it.
We had some people. Yeah, there was some companies that were there, but then we're kind of we kind of didn't know. So we're like, let's just do it ourselves because we didn't know what we wanted to do either.
Okay, so we're also hearing that Trisha's really doing this herself. I'm saying Trisha's doing it herself because it's in her house, and she's letting everyone know that there's nobody producing their podcast. It's just on them. And I always always gave Trisha credit where credit was due. She brought the whole dressing up, as far as I knew, to these visual YouTube podcasts. She brought that all together on Frenemies. That was her spearheading all of that, her creativity. And it put Frenemies up above a notch over every other podcast. So I like that she's still integrating her outfits into this new podcast. And you see now a lot of people are doing the same thing.
Like you said, is this a collab channel where it's
We
like
don't know.
O2L, where we're like just posting like mukbangs together? Because we don't know. Maybe this won't be a podcast every week. Maybe it will be.
We think with this, honestly, like if we're being totally honest with you guys, this could be the only video that ever gets posted on this channel.
Which is why we wanted to go full out.
Yeah, because we were like, let's go full out. Let's do costumes and like go photo shoot and everything.
Uh-oh, I see another disaster in the future. Colleen, Trisha will drain your pockets if you let her. Don't ask me, go ask Ethan. That's what he told me. And by me, I mean all of the H3 viewers. All right? He told us that Trisha will run up your money if you let her. So I'm just saying all of this to say, you better have a plan. Trisha has a lot of ideas, but she'll have you guys going up to the moon if you let her. These two put their new podcast on a separate YouTube channel away from their others. This is very, very good. So here's the thing. There was a big conflict in the end of Frenemies, and it looks like Trisha learned a lot from her mistakes. There's always contention between Ethan and Trisha because the Frenemies podcast was on Ethan's channels. Now, it wasn't a surprise. Trisha knew it was going to happen, and she agreed to it, but it had to be something she found to complain about at the end of Frenemies. It's better on a second channel because Trisha has a lot of controversy that was following her channels in general. So it's probably better for her to just start up a new channel. Maybe the AdSense would be a little better because it's not connected to all her other weird videos through all her years on YouTube. So it gives the algorithm a fresh start into who to market her videos to. Because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people out there who don't know who Trisha is and who don't know who Colleen is. Because I think Colleen has a lot of baggage too. So it's good that they found a new channel to put their video on, and who has the passwords, who's doing the uploads. We probably will find more of that as the podcast continues, because we see now they're saying we might not even do podcasts, we might be doing vlogs. Remember, one of the big fights on Frenemies was when they were doing vlogs. Both vlogs, the Disney vlog and the Hollywood bus vlog, Trisha had something to complain about both vlogs.
Because like when we were coming up with names, one of the names was like something about cockroaches because we just won't die.
List.
But yeah, one of them was something about cockroaches because we just won't die on the internet. Like
we're here forever.
No matter how many times people are like, oh, get off the internet. We're like, we're here to stay. We love it. Yes. And like, we love being, we can't die. Like,
there are a lot more positive words for displaying perseverance than calling yourself roaches. Who likes roaches? Is a negative connotation, and to think that that's going to be her first words to pick, even if she's trying to even go for something funny, there's other words you can use. To think of yourself as a roach, I'm already not even vibing with you. Like, why would you call yourself that? So anyways, they didn't pick the name, so there you go.
Like, no matter how many times you crush us and stomp on us and try to like, burn us down, we're just like, I'm a cockroach and I'm never leaving.
Someone get the raid. Someone get the raid.
And we were like, oh, we're not going to do it. Whatever. You know, it's not going to happen. And we just got busy. And then finally one day we're like, let's just manifest positivity and goodness. Cause like things weren't really going right in either of our lives.
Yeah,
at that
it was
point. We were
weird.
both kind of just like the same day, just kind of having like a rough time. And then it was like, let's just manifest goodness and positivity and just like things happening. And then it happened.
Colleen, let me let you in on something. Please do not fall for the okie doke. There is no time, no way, no how that Trisha is too down to hit record on the camera. One thing about Trisha is she has very good work ethic as far as her own business on YouTube. Let's say she did have a moment where she didn't want to be on YouTube. That's okay because she has vlogs or videos from whenever that she could just easily upload. Trisha's going to always be ready to film Colleen. So don't think you're going to call Trisha last moment, oh, I feel down. Trisha's not going to be with it. I'm telling you, have some kind of plan prepared ahead of time, some backup podcast episode you can do, because she's going to feel a ways too if you call it cancel because you have problems.
You could say and storm out or whatever it is that's going to make me abandon you.
Okay.
But Trisha believes you will.
Yeah.
And We will do stuff.
You don't believe me?
Because he even wanted to take a break. He didn't even want me to be on for this show. Like originally you said, don't come on.
I wasn't going to do the show without you.
But you wanted him to take a break. You wanted me to take a break when I didn't want to. And I was like, oh, so that's like pushing me. That's how I said it. But I get it.
Yes, Trisha has problems, but Trisha is the real, I don't even want to call her a roach, okay? I'll let you guys call each other roaches, but Trisha is the real perseverer there because nothing stops this woman from pressing record on YouTube. She will do it. You need to keep a schedule. You guys are looking kind of flaky out here right now. I'm not even trusting you. Look as if you guys are committed to your podcast. See, this is another problem that Frenemies had. Trisha and Ethan gave off a vibe that they didn't know how long the show would last. As a YouTuber, when you get a sponsor, they have you unlocked for like 10 episodes, 15 episodes, 5 episodes where they want you to talk about their product. And if they're thinking you guys are flaking out already, nobody's going to give you that sponsorship for multiple episodes because they're not going to be confident that you're going to be able to produce a lot of episodes.
I don't care.
I think the deal's pretty good.
We're not making any money anyways off this podcast. It's one of those things. My podcast, in total of 9 months, I made $8,000. So
no, you'll make more than that. We'll make, you'll make good money from this. I mean, we don't have sponsors yet, but the AdSense is good.
Frenemies had to go on for a long time before they got proper sponsors. So much so that Trisha had to get Frenemies Adam and Eve for a sponsorship.
And the sponsors that we do, that we work to get, right? We do all the work to bring the sponsors.
I mean, I had 50%. All of Adam and Eve for the first 20 shows. So I mean, I appreciate what you do, but don't act like I don't bring it. I brought.
Yeah, you brought Adam and Eve, and so that was one sponsor we worked with.
That's all we had for the first
And now we have tons of sponsors every episode because it takes time, obviously to get the show up and pitching, and you get 50% of all of that.
And that's adult content, and I don't think they would want to mix that brand with what they're trying to do here because they're talking a lot about, it seems already, about being mothers. So if you guys aren't committed to your podcast, why would you expect your viewers to?
And today, doing the photo shoot with you, I was like, this is like my soulmate.
Here's what I want to do.
But I love him too. Like, I honestly look at him as like somebody I've known forever. Like, I feel like he's my best friend. Like, it's weird. We have this weird like soul connection. But also he like irritates the shit out of me. I don't get it. Literally, the only other person to do that was Moses for me. So that's why I was like, oh my God, this is like my platonic soulmate that
Tell me how Ethan is somewhere curled up in a ball on the floor crying right now. Trisha, yeah, I know Moses dresses up with you, but Ethan did it better. You can't deny it. She's only mad because Ethan had a tendency to outdo her. And when you have it, you have it. Don't hate.
He loves dressing as females. He's been doing girl makeup this whole time.
I think you are super upset that I come on here and look better than you every single time.
First of all, not upset. I just know you really are into it. You love the nails. You love doing the makeup.
No, I like when I'm doing the costume, I like to go all out. And I have a theory, Dr. Drew, that part of the reason we've been fighting is because you're upset that every week we come out here, I look way better than you.
God.
And by the way, all the comments say Ethan outdid Trisha again. And part of her identity is like, she even said in a previous episode, I'm the girl who does the hair and makeup. This is my whole thing. And when I come out here looking like this, she gets upset. And
well, she did come in the room saying she's upset that the shirt fits you. She's upset your makeup looks good. She was very clear about that.
No.
But again, I like that these guys are dressing up. It's really fun. I hope they keep it up.
And so we are dressed today. We're trying to think of different like women like duos throughout history.
List too. We still have a list of
yes.
Because I was like, let's do this. We were sending each other emails like back in January of like reference photos.
I see another conflict in the future. As you remember, the last episode of Frenemies, what were they arguing over? Was who was coming up with ideas and Trisha not liking the ideas Ethan came up with. And the thing is she gave it to Ethan right there on camera.
And then I'm in a costume I don't even know what this is. Like, I can't even like cosplay because I don't know what it is.
You're the Adam Sandler. You're Debbie from Adam Sandler. This was your idea.
From Adam Sandler?
Or Adam's Family. This was your idea. I'm Uncle Fester.
Oh my God, this is so your idea.
What? I don't have ideas. Okay, well, hold on. Just so people know,
like,
Adam.
Fact check that.
Hold on, Uncle Fester and Debbie. Well, hold on. Does anyone remember? Because I don't have ideas. These are your ideas.
You got it off Reddit and you're like, we're going to do this. And I'm like, this is definitely not my idea.
You told me you didn't like it?
My idea would be Maui and Moana. My idea would be Sharpay and Ryan from High School Musical. I've never once picked our costumes. Never once.
What?
Never once. You can fact check it in the thing. Never once.
You have never once picked our
Never
outfit?
once.
Okay, show this.
I don't want to be the girl in the movies. I want to be the boy too. Like, I want to be able to be like, Monday, April 19th, Ethan goes,
I already admit it was me.
So you gaslight. Why is everyone gaslighting me and making me think
I admit it was me. I said you were right. I remembered. There was a Reddit post.
She had to put Ethan on Front Street.
Well, I was watching it last night and I was like, okay, so first of all, you're kind of like the Roxy in general, like just like the look and the vibe. But Velma, you're more so because she's like the established like star, and Roxy's just like, I want to be you. And then like Velma's like, no, I'm too big of a star for you or whatever. And that's how I felt like with us. And then the canceling, Chicago like canceling, they like kill their like husband. So every time you kill like a husband, like, you know, that's like the cancel and they come back or whatever like that.
As you all can see, Trisha is very well thought out. She knew the reasons why she wanted to be who she is now and why she wanted Colleen to be who she is. As they say, there's a method to her madness. She knows what she's doing. And I've never seen Chicago, but I know this scene because the outfits is very iconic. It's worrying that Trisha sees herself as the wannabe character, but Trisha is like that in real life. She wants to turn into the person she admires. It's kind of creepy. I'm going to need you to start moving away from that mentality.
I don't think anyone would really ever think that you and I would be in a podcast together. Like I don't think people would like put us as a duo.
No.
And but somehow it really like works, I guess.
I think so too. I was super excited because like I never really had a lot of female friends.
Who said you needed to have a lot of female friends? 1 or 2 is good enough.
And I didn't really get like into feminine energy until after I had my baby, not to be about mommy or whatever. But I realized like, oh, like women like get women, like, you know what I mean? And it's just like a more feminine energy. It's not about like cisgender or anything like that. It's just like the energy that people bring. And like, so after I had my baby, I was like, oh, I really miss having like those female friendships and like those kind of things. Cause I think I missed out on it for so long because I was insecure. I was all this stuff like that.
Insecure. There it is right there. I was going to highlight this on Frenemy Reloaded. But what Trisha would do is, I remember it was episode 5. Trisha went on a rant about Jaclyn Hill.
And then Jaclyn Hill said she was going to sue me because
for what?
Because I talked about her for talking about her in my Instagram story.
Wait, who's Jaclyn Hill now? I'm trying to catch up on all the drama.
You did a video on her last year on her hairy lipsticks. Remember the girl with the hairy lipsticks?
Wait, I did. Oh, she had the fucking it had like rot in it. Oh shit. So she's back?
No, she's not back. But well, she just came for me. I hate when people suddenly come for me. If you're gonna come for me, just say my name. Jeff Whittick from the Blog Squad was like that too. Last year, people don't say my name, but they like to insinuate, oh, this person talking.
Come,
just
say it, bitch.
Yeah. Look. Yeah.
Tell me what happened with Jaclyn Hill. Why is she coming for you?
I guess because I made stories.
It was only a couple of months later when Trisha ended up making up with Jaclyn Hill. So Trisha uploaded a video on her channel following a recipe by Jaclyn Hill's husband, who's a chef. Mind you, this was after she trashed Jaclyn Hill's husband on Frenemies number 5.
He has a cringe YouTube channel about cooking because he's trying to be like Jaclyn now. Like, hey guys, welcome to my cooking show. Like, he's not hot. Don't mind coming for his cooking channel.
Should I watch his cooking channel video?
Sure. Cooking with Farnham or something.
Cooking with Farnham. Oh, he's wearing like a Givenchy shirt? What is he, a baller? Why is he acting like he's rich?
She's a baller.
Why do I hate this guy again? I'm like,
no, we don't hate him. We don't hate him.
We don't hate
I
him.
hate watch him because he's so cringy. He's
So
like,
this guy
hey guys, what's up?
And after she uploaded the video, this is what Jaclyn retweeted. This is too cute. Trisha Paytas made Jordan's chicken chow mein. I think they need to do a collab. And then somebody responded, I am so confused. You like each other now? I mean, that's great. I am just confused. And then Jaclyn responds to this person and to Trisha. I have never had a problem with Trisha, and she apologized in her intro for anything bad she's ever said about me. So moving on. Heart emoji. Trisha then jumps on Twitter to respond to Jaclyn saying, honestly, me being nasty towards you is the most embarrassing thing ever. I cringe. I'm sorry. Like I really was in a bad, high AF place. You've always been sweet to me before and literally did nothing. Like I really am sorry AF. And I just always wanted to be your friend. Face welling up with tears emoji. Sorry. Whenever people hate on you and they don't know you, it's 100,000% from a place of jealousy. I feel really awful for coming for at Jacqueline Hill because I was trying to look cool for someone else. Well, she's blaming somebody else. Anyways, it's embarrassing. I apologize publicly. I'll do it forever. Like the dumbest blank. Jacqueline Hill says, "Wow, Trisha, thank you. I'm literally emotional reading this. It wasn't easy seeing you say those things in the past, but I always knew it's because you didn't actually know me personally. This is really big of you and so kind." Poor Jacqueline fell for the okie doke. And that right there told me a lot about Trisha, because Trisha went on to further say that, yes, people who criticize others, they're all jealous. No, Trisha, that's you and others like you. There's a lot of people who may criticize others, but for legitimate reasons. And that's okay. So yeah, if you're giving off that energy, it's not feminine, it's not masculine, it's hateful. And nobody, male or female, will want to be around that type of energy. Let's go.
And just being around it, I was like, I miss this so much. And so doing this podcast with you, I was like super excited. One, that you wanted to even do it because we've done mukbangs on like your channel and it's always been fun. But this is like deep. This is, I've always done it with I've always been like with guys, like guy friends or whatever like that. And it's like fun, guys are cool or whatever. But now it's like fun to have like this like mommy feminine energy. And I love it.
Trisha might unknowingly be setting herself up for failure by attributing her other failed podcasts to being with men, even though she didn't really trash talk it. And now she's with another woman. And so the expectation is that things should go well because they're both women and they're mothers. And no, that has nothing to do with anything. It's who you are as a person. What have you done as far as working on yourself to make it easier to get along with others? Listen, a lot of things in life we've learned in elementary school. And one of those things are group projects. It's not about getting the project done. It's about getting along and working well with others to complete a task. Because you're always going to have conflict when there is more than one person around. Now, how do you deal with this conflict?
We're going to go all over the place.
We also talked about like so much before this. We have so much. Like that's what I'm trying to say because there was so much good conversation before. So that's the problem. Is like we talked so much good things and now I'm just like, oh my gosh, but there's so much because I'm like, okay, there's mommy, there's this. Because even like our another title, because I just keep going back to our original emails of Broadway Babies. And that's why I was like,
Broadway Babies, that's a cute one too.
Uh-oh, I see another problem in their future again in this podcast. Trisha just dropped right there the emails. You guys have email correspondence, and we know how Trisha loves to expose emails.
Niche, or I feel like
people do Broadway podcasts.
Do they?
Yeah, but I just love that like you were willing to dress up like at a Broadway
I was so excited you were. And you were like into it too, because I always get worried. I'm always like, oh my God, this is because it's like literally in my house. Because people always ask me like, what do you get glam for just to your house? I'm like, yeah, kind of just to have like photo shoots in our house. But I think it's cute. I think it's everything.
Ka-ching! Yeah, Trisha will waste your money. Remember the Frenemies merchandise? And she chose to walk off the show right before the launch of the merchandise. She even had Ethan and Hila plan a whole photo shoot. Remember, Trisha had her nails painted Frenemies colors for the photo shoot. She doesn't care. She didn't even say like, oh man, I already painted my nails. Let me not run out on this podcast. She didn't care. Someone tell me if Colleen is more business-minded, because Trisha, if she is, she's not going to put up with your nonsense.
I feel like everyone's going to be like, they're such losers. They're like women just like dressing up for no reason in Trisha's basement with just, they're calling it a podcast. It was just like a random like YouTube channel.
Frenemies, one of the most popular podcasts, was filmed in Ethan's basement. That's not going to be any kind of limitation. And here's what I'm on Trisha again for. Remember when she just wanted to argue with Ethan just for the sake of arguing? She was upset about how Ethan decorated the podcast.
I don't think so. After this today, I'm renegotiating.
You want to give me $25,000 for the set?
No.
So what do you want?
Because I didn't have a say in the set. I didn't have a say in how it was like built or anything. I had my set designers and like, oh, they're not available.
I tried to reach them.
And she was mad that Ethan didn't use her set designers. Yeah, Trisha, I'm looking at your set designer right now. And I do not like it. I don't know, I could be wrong, but is that set up just in relation to your Chicago theme? Because it looks like you're sitting in kind of like a theater, right? And I know that Chicago is Broadway and stuff. So actually, that kind of works. If this is just a one-time thing as far as a backdrop is concerned, I like the vibe. I'll give you that. I don't want to see next week you have the same chairs and backdrop. All of this to say is she was quick to get on Ethan's case because of the set design. When Ethan copied the set design for, or her side, the pink area of Frenemies, for her Dish with Trish podcast. It had the same kind of pink theme and pink background. I thought it was very clever. Not to mention, you guys have to remember back to when lockdown first started, well, a couple months into it, and Frenemies first appeared. And remember, during that time, a lot of broadcasts weren't in the same room. So remember that line division in Frenemies with the pink and the black? We all thought that Ethan and Trisha weren't in the same room until Ethan reached over, Trisha reached over, and then it's like you got that shock like, whoa. Now that the more that I talk about it, I think she's gonna have a different background next week. Here's another problem I see. Colleen, what Trisha's doing costs a lot of money. If every week you have a new background, and I wouldn't put it past Trisha to have all of these props just all over her house in random places. But everything she's doing right now, you guys, is running up the bill. Colleen, I hope you have control of the books.
But isn't every video is this podcast with people with microphones? I mean, that's like the thing. Like everyone has a podcast, which is like, I want to be on a podcast too. Like, and I haven't done a podcast in like so long. You have a podcast.
I have one with my husband. Yeah. And so
like, you've done it so long.
Yeah. We've been doing it a year, 2 years, a year. I don't remember.
Colleen has a podcast? Okay, that's news to me. And she's doing it with her husband. So, I mean, it's a familiar person. But at the same time, if she's been doing it over a year, it shows that she can follow through on commitment. Colleen has more to show for it than Trisha, who couldn't maintain a year of frenemies, especially when you included all of the walkouts. She was messing with Ethan's money.
I guess it's easy with your husband though, because it's like you live in the same place.
Yeah, we just like after the kids go to bed one night a week, we like just like talk for an hour. But it's the same kind of thing where we just kind of talk. So like we're doing this for us and we're just like having fun with it. Yeah. But if you guys have any suggestions of what you want to see, like we're down.
Here's another future problem I see. No way, Trisha, are you letting Colleen ask for audience participation on the first episode when on the 39th episode of Frenemies, you got on Ethan's case for doing audience participation?
I don't like this segment. Just for the record, fan advice is a stupid segment.
Why?
But we can do it. It's so dumb. What's the point?
To give advice to our fans.
But that's not the like. Oh, no, that's like when people run out of ideas and they start doing Q&As. Like Tyler Oakley ran ideas. So he's like, we're gonna do Q&As now because we have nothing else to talk about. Okay, go ahead. It's such a dumb segment.
It's so not. It's
like we have nothing to fill the time.
Trisha, this is your first episode and you have Colleen doing the very same thing you criticize Ethan for doing. Your first episode, that doesn't bode well. I'm gonna need you to give Ethan and crew a big apology because you were on their case for no reason. Now, Trisha was just upset that day because it was mad day for her, okay? So she was pulling at straws.
Like, because this could be a podcast, we could end up just like vlogging together.
Yeah.
We could like
just dress up and take pictures.
Dress up and take pictures and that's it. And like not even film
TikToks,
any of it.
Yeah.
Just do it for ourselves. We don't know what this is. We just know we wanted to hang out and dress up. So like.
Everything Colleen just said, problem. Vlogs are a problem for Trisha. Dressing up in photo shoots are a problem for Trisha. She was mad when Ethan just wanted to hang out with her for content and not just to hang out. So don't think you can spring this on Trisha and think she's gonna roll with it. She has a problem with vlogging if that's all you guys do. Don't say you want to hang out with Trisha and it just involve a camera and don't think she's gonna feel a ways about it. This has happened before.
Oh my God, how are we ever going to get through this? We're just like skipping from topic to topic. I'm trying to be patient when we're talking about things, I'm like, okay, don't interrupt and just let's focus on a topic. And I was like, but I want to say so many things.
Jump in. I love it.
Okay.
Problem. Do not believe her. She doesn't love it. What happened the last episode of Frenemies? When Ethan jumped in?
And then the wife, played by Anne Hathaway, like I think she was in on it at the end because she calls.
Not much changed since then in Texas, I don't think.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. That's what's so okay. I'm not trying to get all like heated about this, but there's still people are still like that. Like trans people are getting beat in their face to death.
No, I'm
like
so over that shit.
And so like watching it, I was just like, holy shit. And like Heath Ledger, Jake Gyllenhaal said Heath Ledger refused to make like gay jokes about it, like during the Oscars, and I don't know.
Is there a third pizza?
You're so not good about this. Okay, let's go to your stupid.
Make sure that
I don't like
pizza.
this segment. Just for the record, fan advice is a stupid segment.
Why?
But we can do it.
That was the start of her ramping up herself to walk out of the last episode. So Colleen, you cannot jump in whenever you feel like it. Not when Trisha wakes up on Mad Day.
And if they strapped me down, I was not aware. But I don't think
was I strapped? I was strapped down, right? Or am I just making this
your arms down? I've heard they do that.
Sometimes I'm out of it for sure. I don't know. I was out of mine. I was too heavy. Did you get fentanyl?
I don't know what.
Able to use your hands at all.
Your hand were they because they were numb or her hands were strapped down?
I think they were strapped.
Because they kind of closed her up.
Yeah.
Here.
Now I'm like I want.
Oh, and we have an appearance from Moses. He's off to the side like, take that, Ethan. You wanted to kick me off of Frenemies. Look at me now. Now he's the muffled voice on a new podcast. I find it funny after all this time, no one finds it necessary to give Moses a mic. Story of his life. Is Colleen's husband off to the side too, or is it just Moses? Because it's in Trisha's house and Moses is off screen. Is Moses getting a cut? I'm going to talk about this in future episodes of Frenemies Reloaded, but I bet you that was an underlying issue with Moses. This is me going with one of my theories. But if Moses is that involved with this new podcast, don't be surprised, Colleen, if he's going to need a cut of the profits. What is he, the producer? What's going on here? Is he the new Dan? Did I ever tell you that I always had this thought that Dan and Moses didn't really like each other? Something I saw like a long time ago that gave me that impression.
Do you regret anything that you put out online, or is there anything like, I wish I wouldn't have done that online?
Yes and no. It's like like both, because it's yes, I regret bad choices I've made, like anyone would regret, like, oh, you get embarrassed and cringed out by like things that you've done in your past, and you're like, ugh, I wish I hadn't. Why was I so stupid to say something like that or think something like that? But I learned from my bad and cringy things that I've done. And I feel like I've become a better person because I want to take criticism and try to learn and grow. And I feel like I am a better person because of the internet in a lot of ways. Like there's a lot of things I've learned from and grown from that like I never would have known otherwise. So it's like, I do sometimes feel like, oh, I regret this or that. But then at the same time, I don't, because then I wouldn't have learned any, I would.
Yeah. I know Colleen must have been one of these YouTubers, right? They all run in a pack. So I'm not surprised she's friends with Trisha, where she had to do some kind of apology. Listen, I will remain firm on this. I don't believe nada of these YouTubers and their apologies. And so we hear her saying it flat out. Yeah, no, it made me who I am. Yeah, that means you like what you did. You liked it. It brought you to the money you have now. Okay, keep your apology. I don't know why these guys apologize when they're not sorry.
I feel too.
That's kind of how I feel. So it's like, I regret and feel bad about like, if I ever say or do things that hurt people, like that's never my intention. I don't want to do that ever. So like, I want to say yes, but at the same time, like, I'm so grateful for people educating me to be better.
Yeah,
like
you have to learn.
And,
y'all who took the time to educate this woman right here that words hurt, a full-grown adult. You guys must have had a lot of time on your hands, because that's the one thing I'm not going to do, is educate another grown person on the things, like I said before, you should have learned in elementary school.
I feel like being on the internet forces you to be in front of an audience of a large group of diverse people who all are trying to help you to become... I mean, a lot of them are trying to help you. Some of them are just trying to like not do it nicely, but like...
Yeah, because those people were matching your energy, Colleen. You shouldn't expect anything more of them. And for the others that took the time to educate her, did you hear what she just said? She thinks that's your job. She was surprised to come onto YouTube, a worldwide platform, to find diverse people who are there to educate her and to teach her how to be a normal human being. Like, that's what you guys are there for, to teach her things. Her first time being around, I guess, people who don't look like her was uploading videos on YouTube. I don't believe any of these people. Any video you upload on YouTube is followed by a comment section. So from the first outlandish video she did, there were multiple people in the comments telling her what she was doing was offensive. And if she kept that up for years, which I'm sure she did, because she's probably a part of these groups of people who are all of a sudden were apologizing a couple of years ago. Doesn't it seem funny to y'all that these people were apologizing the same exact time that YouTube decided not to pay YouTubers for offensive videos? YouTube said you can still upload your videos, but we're not going to give you AdSense for it. And all of a sudden, all these people had epiphanies. They've been on YouTube 10 years at that point. And only when their pockets were lighter did they all finally have an epiphany at the same exact time and did their apologies. Keep it. Keep it. Keep your apologies.
A lot of people are genuinely trying to be helpful and like help you to learn and grow. And so like, it's a yes and no answer, you know? Like, do you have things that you regret?
Well, I'm the same way. I go back and forth with it because on one hand, I mean, I've said like way worse things because I always like, there was times where I just said stuff for shock value just to get that negative attention or any attention or whatever. But then I'm kind of the same way. Like, I don't think I would have discovered like having a mental illness. Like, I never thought of myself as like mentally ill. Like, I know it's like a shock to people until literally like 2019 when I like actually went up to a mental hospital.
Colleen leads the question by saying it's going to be a yes and no answer. And Trisha does not give a yes or no answer because she's doing the same thing. She doesn't apologize because she's not sorry. As you heard, even Colleen asking her if she's sorry for the things she's done on YouTube is now about her and her mental health struggles. What does that have to do with what the conversation is about right now? And then these people are going to always follow it up with, oh, but it's not an excuse. That's what it sounds like to me. But Trisha, you're not sorry and you're not saying you're sorry, so I like that. Keep that energy. We already know what you're about, so I'm not surprised.
They're like, oh, you might have like a mental illness. I'm like, that's crazy. Like, I don't have a mental illness, whatever. Like, I'm in control of my thoughts. I'm trolling. I'm whatever. And then I was like, well, I don't think I would have gotten there had I not made the choices I made or like screwed up so many times for someone to like kind of like, and how I originally found out was like, it wasn't Dr. Drew. It was like another doctor that was like on YouTube. And I was just like, maybe I should like get this looked at, maybe whatever. Cause he analyzed my videos. He was analyzing like things that I did. And I was like, well, that makes sense. That makes sense. So then it got me to go to an actual therapist. And I was just like, well, one in real life anyways, he was an actual therapist. And I was like, oh, like, you know, and I discovered that I had a mental illness and it kind of like made sense.
I'm not going to let Trisha twist me around with her mental gymnastics. She said on Frenemy, she used to troll her therapist as a child. She was doing this. That's what she said. Therefore, if you were a child seeing a therapist, that alone leads me to believe that your mental health struggles shouldn't have been a shock to you. It shouldn't have been. No, you didn't need people on YouTube to tell you if you're already seeing a therapist in childhood, all right? The very least, you knew something was up.
And of course, everyone's like, it's not an explanation or not
excuse.
And right. I was like, yeah, but it kind of like explains why it was like that.
It's not an excuse.
Here we go. Isn't this all like clockwork? These people work from the same script. Okay, everyone. Be sure to tune in to part 2, where we're going to wrap up Oversharing with Colleen and Trish. And then we're going to get into Ethan Klein's review of Trisha Paytas' new podcast. You don't want to miss it.